Welcome, gang. And I know people will start trickling in, and also those of you who are going to be watching on the recording. Welcome to Stack Chat, where my goal is trying to raise a little community through conversation. I am your host, Martin Maenza, and today I am very happy to have with me my relatively new friend. We've only known each other for a month. I figured it out.
About a month.
Tavis Ferguson. Tavis, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and in case you guys do not know Tavis, I'm going to quote from his profile thing because I'm so bad, and I have to read it because my eyes are really bad too. You guys know how old I am. You do your writing at the intersection of memory, media. You talk about queer becoming and neurodivergent pattern recognition. And tell me what that memory media stuff really means to you. Because I mean, I know what it means to me, but I want to hit it from the source. What does that mean to you?
It's like, honestly, me being a 90s kid when I should have been watching cartoons and was absorbing, it's like culture at the time, news. It's like, even 90 minutes ago, it's like I had a random thought. It's like an Aerodynamic by Daft Punk. I remember that it was used as backing music in a VH1 special about Paris Hilton's T-Mobile sidekick being hacked.
So you definitely have a mind for filing all of these facts, and I noticed dates especially. Bless you, because that's one of those things I never could do. History class is like, oh, I got to memorize dates. No, I don't think so. But that's a very interesting superpower. Plus, you remember all of these wonderful details. So I had to go back and I was trying to figure out which post it was that it was the first one that of yours that popped up on my radar, and I'm pretty sure it was the first part of, and I had to write that one down too because I'm going to get the title right. It was The Grocery Outlet, Tommy James, and The Wicked Witch, part one. And for me, I'm like, I'm like, okay, Tommy James. I know Tommy James and the Shondells. I was a little young for it by the time it was out,
Yes.
But I know all that stuff, love those songs, everything else. And I'm like, and then I had to look at your profile and went, oh, wait, he is like way too young for Tommy James and the Shondells. I'm like, clearly there is something here. And that's what it was. And then I was trying to figure out, either I must have commented on something or you saw something of mine and reached out to me. But I remember looking at the beginning of our chat, I noticed it was like the first thing was literally, oh, glad you're interested in coming on and talking to me. It was like, so you somewhere we must have had that thing, and I couldn't find it because
I admit, it's like apparently I was whoring myself out before I realized I was whoring myself out.
There's nothing wrong with that, though. Technically, I asked. Literally, when I first started this and I first started posting the things, because I had people when I started, there was people who were these are on my wish list, and it wasn't a big list by any stretch. And luckily they said yes, which was really nice. And that, I guess, gave me false confidence. And I'm going, well, now I have a schedule. So now I'm like, I will throw this out there to the wind, and whoever wants to come talk to me. And lo and behold, people want to come talk to me. So apparently I'm not so scary, and I'm very welcoming and wonderful, which I'm okay with.
And it was pretty wild too when I did my first talk show appearance on Maddox Clossinger and Sappy Sorcerer. It's like I literally compared it to when people would face their traumas on Maury Povich.
So stretching. So those types of things. I don't know if I watched a lot of Maury. Maybe occasionally. It was usually Robert Downey, not Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, Morton Downey Jr.
Morton Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. Like Robert. Now that would be an interesting show combination. Let's have Robert Downey Jr. talk to people, given the fact that everything he's been through his life, given, the route of addiction and recovery, that might make it an interesting show.
It would.
Oh, I hope I have not given you a weirdly false, weird idea.
You have. It's like when I get off work tonight, I'm going to be writing the hell out of it.
Somewhere in the parallel, well, give me not a thanks credit in the thing, or at least,
of course I will.
Chip will make sure, but Chip has heard it.
Of course, our canon executive producer snoozing in the background on my faux goose down mink.
But he has definitely heard it. I was going to say, he heard it, so he's going to make sure I get credit for at least throwing that stupid idea. But
yes, you are.
Given everything he went through, I mean, if you think about Robert Downey Jr., it's like, probably the first movie I remember ever seeing him in was the very small bit part in Weird Science.
Yes, that's where I remember that too.
And then it went into Less Than Zero, probably was his first bigger role. And of course, he was playing an addict, which, life
Yeah.
film ends up reflecting life, which
And
sadly.
sure enough, I have a funny story about Weird Science. It was a
Tell me,
post back from December.
tell
It's
me.
like when I had the realization that even though Kelly LeBrock is a fucking smoke show, it's like my real crush was on Eli and Mitchell Smith.
That's fair. That's fair. So I know exactly where I was when I saw Weird Science because that was the summer of 86, 85, 86, 86. I don't remember the year. I'm
Yeah.
guessing. My brain
Yeah,
told you
summer.
no
And it's
numbers.
like released in 1985, probably in LA, and then it's like by summer of '86, it was in theaters.
Wherever it was, I was in Jersey at the time working for M&M Mars. Part of my undergraduate degree in computer sciences, we had to work to four cycles, four 10-week cycles total. So in this case, I was working a 2 block together, doing computer stuff for the company who does M&M Mars and Uncle Ben's.
Yeah.
So that was the company. I was living in Jersey, underage because I came from New York State where I could drink, and then I was in Jersey where I could not. So literally all I had to do that entire summer was go to the movies. And I saw every damn movie that came out. A movie would come out, I would go Friday night, Saturday matinee, Saturday night, maybe a Sunday.
That would have been
Literally, that's
iconic.
all I did. But that's when Weird Science came out. So I remember seeing Weird Science in the theater for that. And of course, Oingo Boingo. That was around the time period I got heavily into Oingo Boingo because, Dead Man's Party, and then literally I just went back through the whole back catalog and I became an instant Oingo Boingo fan. So that was weird, but yeah, so that's Weird Science. Then, see, Martin's going to stay on this damn tangent because I rode this stupid tangent. Robert Downey Jr. then went into addiction, went into recovery, made his comeback on Ally McBeal.
Yes.
And my wife and I loved Ally McBeal. We used to watch that damn stupid Dancing Baby. That was the draw. But that cast, there was such a great cast. It's so many great characters in that thing. And eventually he was on, yeah.
Oh, never did I think that in 1998 that Portia de Rossi would go on to marry Ellen DeGeneres.
No, you would not have thought that at all. But I mean, just the whole thing to the point where I think it was a number of years. It's probably in the early 2000s. I think it was a Valentine's Day. I went and got the whole complete box set of the DVDs of the entire run of Ally McBeal, gave it to my wife for Valentine's Day, just because that was one of those shows. It was like that, and it was shows like Boston Public and what was the other David E. Kelly? It was the legal drama. William Shatner was on it. I should know it.
Boston Legal. It had
Boston
Candice
Legal.
Bergen and James Spader.
Yes. In fact, we've got all of that. And I remember we were watching all of that, especially on DVD. And I remember feeling sad because we were going through it so fast that I don't think I've watched the last season. The last season is still in the box. I have never, because I feel like if I watch it, then it's over and I don't want I'm being stupid.
I have rewatched so many shows over the years. It's like again and again and again. I'm like, I never want it to end.
Oh, I know. Well, I mean, that's the same thing. Well, I mean, I don't know if I've never done show fan fiction per se. I've done fan fiction for other stuff, but I've never.
I don't mean fan fiction. It's like my piece that I wrote about. It's like those two women from season 4 of Beverly Hills Housewives. It's like, literally, it's like I have watched it so many times that, like, if I woke up with amnesia, I'd be like, "What was happening on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?"
Yeah. Let's say hey, a whole bunch more people popped in the chat. We've got Peter, we got Tiberius, we got Sacred Storylines, we got the amazing Mac Devlin. Hey gang, welcome to you all. Raul Das, welcome. So what I love about this too is it gets a really interesting mix. I mean, I get my math analogy of like going, we're going to take our circles, and I know our circles already overlap because I see it a lot already. but I think we'll get a little bit more overlapping, which is good because it helps everybody kind of get exposure to everybody else, and you never know who
Oh,
you're going to run into.
absolutely.
So, so yeah, that was that piece with Tommy James. That was really that first one that connected us. But
Yeah.
every time I read one of your pieces, and you know this because I throw them in the comments, it's like you hit on something. You hit on something that resonates with me, and I think that's part of the reason why that was the initial connection for me. And I was going, okay, this is somebody I got to know because our brains are hitting those same spots.
Yeah, but
But
in my
what?
past life, I was a Generation X born in 1968 and lived to see it all.
Okay, well, no fairness. So, I mean, I would have 3 years on you on there. But one of the ones that I thought was really interesting because you posted one, you were talking about one of your Facebook posts, and you were talking about when you and your mom went to see Culture Club in 2016
That was
with,
amazing.
well, and the opening acts were English Beat in
Eng
Berlin, right?
Uh-huh.
Really good bands, absolutely amazing bands. Um, that was my college years wheelhouse. So that made me think about the time when I ended up seeing Culture Club. I saw it my wife, my son, and I saw him in 1988. 98, excuse me. My son was 3. So there was an amphitheater outside of Raleigh called Walnut Creek. We lived in Raleigh, North Carolina at the time. And the lineup was, it was a 80s rewind tour. So it was Human League opened, Howard Jones played the middle act, and then closing was Culture Club. And it was an interesting night because it was a typical summer night in North Carolina. The storms were rolling in. We were on the lawn. There was the amphitheater itself, and then there's the lawn seats in the back. And of course, you have a little one. We're trying to save some money. We're going to be on the lawn. Rain started. Torrential rain. Luckily, they had everybody who was on the lawn could come up underneath the overhang. And then eventually, because there was a lot of open seats, they're like, just find a seat and get comfortable. So we're sitting there. As again, it was during Human League's opening act. Human League's about 5 songs in. Big hit of lightning. Everything goes dark. Lights come back on, but all of their computers and all of their synth stuff, completely had popped down and thing. And they're like, so we're all there, and it's like, there's nothing going on, and they're scurrying around trying to figure stuff out. And then they came back and they said, we want to finish our sets. It's going to take a few minutes for the machines to come up, but we want to finish our set. And they did. And it was just such a great concert. It was just so amazing. And, again, all of that was my music from definitely my high school, probably my late high school, early college years was Howard Jones and Culture Club and Human League. So it was an awesome show. But yeah, just the fact that, and I suspect, so the musical taste then, how much of that did you get from your mother?
Honestly, it's like I don't see my mom in the chat yet, but she's gonna see
Yeah,
this anyways. I
she
owe
will.
everything to her. It's like my creativity. It's like and it's like that's how I picked up my love of Prince.
Oh, we are going to talk about Prince. Okay, and I wore purple today in honor of that because I knew that you'd appreciate. Let's talk about
Always.
Prince. Let's start with the worst part, and then we'll work back.
Okay.
April 21st, 2016. Where were you when you got the news, and how did you get the news that Prince
At
had
the
moved?
time, I was working, and it's like my 2 best friends that it's like I did not have as friends at the time. It's like I worked for. It's like the husband who is a 1967, so of course he's canon. And then
Mm-hmm.
I was working as a job coach at a vocational rehab kind of sheltered workshop kind of thing. And I had seen TMZ about the wrestler, it's like Joni China Doll Lauer passing. And then one of the clients said, "Oh, did you just see about Prince?" And I'm like, of course I didn't say fuck. And it's like in front of, and it's like clients,
You
but
thought
I
it.
saw that, and the way the color just drained out of my face, it was like Donna Mills being captured by Jessica Walter and play Misty for me.
See, I was at work. I remember I was working for Oh, it was an IT company in automotive up here in Michigan. We had just moved up. So 2016 would have been probably my second year of being there. And, you know, so constantly working on stuff, but periodically I'd have my phone. And I think it was probably had to be around lunchtime or whatever when I went and checked my phone. And I remember flipping through social media. It had to been Twitter at the time. And literally I just like, what? And that was it. I was pooped for that day. And then probably for a couple months afterwards, I was just kind of in this weird fog of it, just
Yeah.
because, I mean, if you look at my music library, easily the most represented individual in my entire iTunes library of, tens of thousands of songs that I've got in there, clearly by far, without a doubt, the most representative. And that I go back really far. I'm going to hit you with I want to find out your discovery. You said your mom introduced you to him.
Yes, the day, August 29th, 1996, I was 7, and it's like misbehaving somehow. So my mom said, go fold some towels. And I was rummaging through her CDs and I found the hits volume 2. So
Okay.
I put it in. My first song was Controversy. And since August 29th, 1996, I've been a member of the Royal Purple Army. And it's like I swear allegiance to Prince, one and all. It's like,
I did not know that. Now I'm gonna blow your mind, because this is where this weird thing with us is.
yes.
My first exposure. I mean, I probably knew. I probably had heard "I Want to Be Your Lover" somewhere on radio, because it was a crossover enough in '79 or whatever when it
Yes.
was, enough to register it. Maybe had caught a glimpse of it on Solid Gold. I think I may or may not have seen him perform on the American Bandstand, because I used to watch that every Saturday.
Of
But
course.
really what got me into it, but that was just a passing thing. Okay, it's a song in top 41 and off. I'm not going to think about it. Where I really got into it, I was probably summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school. So it had to be summer of 81. There was a local college radio station. I grew up in a small town called Dunkirk, New York. It's a town. Next to us is a village. Literally, population wise, no, they're only going to be called the Village of Fredonia. But at the Village of Fredonia, one of the things they had a state University of New York. So that was the big thing that was most important. That was at the college. New York State had a bunch of state-run schools. Local radio station, so the college radio station, some weird reason on a Saturday afternoon, I was flipping dials and I somehow came across that station. Afternoon show, the afternoon, I call it the Saturday afternoon drive show between 2 and 4. So I'm assuming it was a student. It was a show called Vito's Saturday Afternoon Tea Party. What Vito would do was Vito would play all, whole bunch of new wave, whole bunch of, stuff that wasn't on the charts, but it's definitely popular, definitely hitting things. So a lot of different things I got from there. Obviously, got Madness, I got Thompson Twins, I got Gang of Four. There was a whole bunch of things, but he would play Prince. And probably one of the first songs from that I got into, he would play the hell out of everything on Controversy. Obviously, title track Controversy, and
Yes.
then Martin's going to sit here and blank. Martin should know this damn album by heart, and Martin is completely senior moment. I hate when my brain does this, and I'm going to look this up because this is what a librarian does. And I apologize for the clicky keyboard, guys. Literally everything on that damn album. I mean, Controversy, Sexuality, Do Me Baby, side 1. I mean, 19 minutes of side 1. 2 of the 3 tracks over 7 minutes long.
Yeah, it's like Erotic City, Scarlet Pussy. Let's pretend we're married.
Backside then is Private Joy, Ronnie Talk to Russia, Let's Work, Anti-Christian, and Jack You Off. Backside has got shorter tracks, including
My
probably
God.
a minute. But it was such an amazing album, to the point where I would hear all these different tracks and I'm like, okay. And, I would sit there with my little tape deck and I would record stuff when songs came up. And eventually I went and got the vinyl and I'm like, okay, I went to the local record store and got the vinyl. And that's pretty much when it started. And then it was right about the time MTV kind of came into our household, and right about the time then that, after David Bowie pushed to get people like Michael Jackson and Prince on there.
Yeah, the way he went toe to toe with Mark Goodman, I'm like, it gave me shivers. I'm like, ooh.
I used to listen to back when Sirius XM had what was the name of the stupid channel?
There was 80s on 8. It's like
they had a talk. There was a talk channel that had mostly was stuff about music. So they had their morning drive show with so they had two people in the morning drive show. Midday, you had Eddie Trunk doing his heavy metal related stuff, and then in the afternoon it was Mark Goodman and Alan Light. So they had a show, and so I would always listen to that. I mean, when I discovered that channel, I was literally all in. That's what I'm doing. Even when I'm sitting home, I'm like, oh, I'm not listening to music. I'm listening to people talk about music, because that was a thing. But yeah, the fact that Bowie put him to task and they got the channel to change their mind, because the labels are like, we're going to start. And then the labels were like, well, if you don't put these artists on, we're going to start pulling all the rest of our stuff.
And that's why 2016 sucked, because then it's like 7 days into 2016, David Bowie died.
Well, and then I will throw on top of that. So this would make 2016 bad. So I was, Bowie was there. I was very much a Bowie Let's Dance, maybe Suffragette City, that type of stuff. Not a heavy Bowie. My brother was definitely more into Bowie, probably, Spiders from Mars and Ziggy Stardust, stuff like that.
Yes.
But never really got overly into Bowie as much. And then, of course, then we lost Prince. So then I was in a funk for a couple months. I mean, literally walking around. Sometimes It Snows in April. I love that song. That's I've always thought in the back of my head, well, that's the song I want to have played at my funeral. I haven't discussed this with my wife. Maybe just an instrumental thing. I don't know. I don't know how.
Well, Mrs. Maenza, if you are watching,
she won't watch. She won't watch. She never watches any of my stuff. But anyway, that's just one of those things. But then later that year, probably it was about. So that was going through that funk for about 2 months. And
December
then
26th, Christmas Day, when George Michael died.
Oh, wait. Was that Christmas that
December 25th, 2016.
Oh, okay. So before that, I had lost a really good friend of mine who I had known for years, lived out in California. I had gone out a number of times to hang with them, to go to Comic-Con and stay at their place. This guy, amazing writer, amazing storyteller. He had muscular dystrophy. So when I met him at that point, he'd been in a wheelchair, but he wasn't supposed to live past, his early 20s. And when I met him, it was like his 40s. Really great, amazing guy. So anyway, he had passed due to health complications, with everything else between that and then his heart and everything else. So it was 2016 was a horrible year. The goodness that came out of it was his passing and his memorial. The spirit voices from him came to me when I got home to convince me to become a librarian, which is where my career change came. But then again, like you said, George Michael on Christmas. Then if I really want to get bad into it, well, let's throw it. So we're going to get, welcome to Depressing Hour, gang. 2017, January 9th, my aunt, my mom's only sister, passed away on my mom's birthday. Really a weird irony. So I thought that was interesting. My mom then got really, she had smoked many decades. And she only quit when my son was born due to with stuff. But the damage was done. And my mom was on oxygen and everything else. Yeah. And she finally had gone to the hospital. And for some weird reason, she decided I did not want to do not resuscitate. Did my interview for the job interview for being a part-time librarian, flew down there, got to the hospital, spent the night with her, let my wife go back home because she'd been spending days there. And my mom passed with me in the hospital room, which is, it was a very sad thing. But, and then I lost my dad 2 months later. So literally 2016, 2017 were crap years. Thank God I did my therapy in 2015. I did a stint in therapy in 2015. And that was brought on because somebody from high school had passed. And I was going through a weird mood and going, okay, I'm just a little depressed, and normally depression doesn't hit me, but I did that. And that kind of, even though I did therapy only for about 6 months, it helped me incredibly.
Yeah,
And I think that
28 years I've been in therapy.
that's a lot. That's a lot. But you get a benefit out of it, so that's a
I
good thing.
do.
Hmm. That's important. That's important. So yeah, my wife got mad at me when I finished at 6 months. I said, I'm done. She's like, what do you mean you're done? I'm like, I'm done. I'm like, I know what problem I had. I know what I was trying to solve. I know I will go back if something else does it, but it really helped. It definitely helped me change on my perspectives on some things. So it's like, okay, that works. But yeah. So anyway, who else? We got some other bodies. We've got Zephyr, welcome, and Lourdes, welcome. So yeah, wow. Definitely a great interesting turnout for a Thursday morning. Well, depending upon where you are, someplace it may not be morning. It's possible. That's one of these things I love about Substack is everybody is everywhere. So it's really amazing. And I guess there's always somebody, if you're up, there's always somebody to talk to.
Exactly. And in the wee hours on the West Coast, it's like when I'm up and in my peak creative hours.
Well, that's a good thing, though. Yeah, you do your work stuff at home, and then you've got by the time you get off, because you work a little later, so it's like okay. So by the time you're getting done, I'm hitting the sack, and then you're just now getting into your
And
creative
then I
time.
also do it throughout the day too. It's like between work calls.
Yeah, well, we all
It's the only thing that
do
brings me joy.
I will tell you when I'm sitting on the desk, we're not allowed to read physical items because the idea is we don't want patrons to think they can't interrupt us or we're doing something because there are still polite people still in the world. There are not a lot of them. There's still polite people. But if we're staring at a computer screen, that's okay because we're staring at a computer screen. So that's usually when I'm usually catching up on Substack reading. I have to be careful because sometimes if people writing stuff that's really funny, I cannot start busting out and laughing in the middle of the library because it's like, I don't want people to know what in the world I'm reading or anything else, whatever it is. So it's like, I just have to be careful. But
yeah, as far as they're concerned, you could be reading the Kama Sutra.
It's probably there. So one of the beautiful things about the library, and we certainly try to do, is there's no censorship. We try our best to be fair with anything we buy because somebody's going to have an interest in it. As long as somebody has an interest in it, we're willing to pick it up. If it doesn't circulate after a certain period of time, then we can get rid of it. But the fairness, because it's the community, and we don't want to be, oh, you're leaning towards this side or you're leaning towards this side, and we literally have to be impartial because just like the country has a Bill of Rights, librarians have a Bill of Rights, and one of our Bill of Rights is freedom to read for everybody. And
exactly.
Even for kids, obviously parents have to have an input and parents should know what their children are reading. But there's also that freedom in there and, so they can be flexible. And sometimes kids need to read some stuff that they're not ready to talk to their parents about.
And honestly, imagine the shock of an 8-year-old boy in 1997 checking out Murder in Greenwich by Mark Furman. And then when I got him, it's like my mom saw it. She's like,
Mark Furman.
Oh, I was curious.
Yeah, Mark Furman, if I remember correctly, OJ trial?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So
yeah, when he wrote the book about Martha Moxley being killed in 1975.
Okay, so I know Marcia Clark's books because I've actually read her fiction stuff.
Yes.
I got those out of NetGalley at one point before I became a librarian, and I was just randomly able to get galleys because they're like, "Oh, you're a blogger, we'll let you get some stuff." And I remember her books popped up. I'm like, "Well, I might as well get the galleys." And eventually, I did go reading. They weren't bad by any stretch of the imagination. I've read worse, but she could competently write. But yeah, the OJ trial. Oh, the OJ trial was going on when my wife was pregnant. And she was stuck home on bed rest. And that was the only thing on. And she just was like, why am I enduring this junk? But apparently...
Yeah, the slow speed car chase of June 17th, 1994.
Dude, you and the numbers, I swear. Oh, this is amazing. Okay. Okay, so clearly I'm taking you to trivia because if I need to have, it's like you are now on my trivia team because that is it. If you can pull those things out of your head, and I know you're pulling them out of your head because you're not typing. So that's just amazing that you've got a head for numbers like that. But yeah, that whole and I just saw last night, one of the things I was doing on the desk is going through the other thing we can read is we can look through the catalog of books that are coming out.
Yeah.
And I noticed that Denise, drawing a blank. What was Nicole's last name?
Denise Brown.
Yeah, Denise Brown is actually putting out a book in October about her sister, about abuse, about other things. And I'm almost, my first thought in the head was going, my God, that's like 30 years late. Nicole, took you that long to write it? But I'm like, okay, I appreciate that she's doing it. But it's like, there is a book coming out in October from Nicole Brown about her sister.
I have a pretty shocking story of my own.
It's give me a story. Give me shocking.
It's like, it's like Martin, Chad. It's like if you guys go back to the May 19th archives, it's like late last year when I went into one of my creative spirals. It's like imagining the life that Nicole Brown Simpson should have had and should have lived. And when I released it May 19th, which would have been her 67th birthday, my part 1 and part 2 made it to Nicole's youngest sister, Tanya.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Wow.
And I got a good endorsement. It's like it wasn't fan fiction and like giving a woman back her life that should have had a life.
So talking about your stuff, it's an interesting approach, and I like what you kind of do in some of this stuff. Some of it is very, so it's personal, reflective. It's usually something in a reference that comes up that then leads the reader into whatever else from your personal life that you want to talk about. Yeah. But then you've got this whole Talonverse thing. Let's talk a little bit about that and maybe tell people a little bit who may not be familiar with your stuff. What is all that about?
Honestly, the best way I describe Talon Marlowe, it would be like Erica Jane mixed with Hannah Montana. It's like the version of me who has no F's to give, who doesn't apologize for shrinking, who takes up all the space, says what I can't.
So I got half the reference. Obviously, I got the Hannah Montana reference because
Erica Jane is from Beverly Hills Housewives, and fun fact about that.
Okay, go ahead.
It's like her now ex-husband Tom Girardi, who was one of the lawyers in the PG&E case out of Hinckley.
Yeah. See, now that's why I didn't get that reference. Hi, Alan. By the way, Soccer Place Landing just popped in. I'm going to be talking to Alan Labor Day weekend, which would be awesome. We've worked something out. So that kind of talks about the thing that we discovered 2 days ago or yesterday, or I don't know, sometime this week. You and I have a gap because you can drop all Housewives, anything on Bravo. Okay. Well, I know, I know Queer Eye, at least. I know my wife would watch a couple of those episodes. My wife probably watched some Bravo stuff at somewhere down the road, but I absolutely did not. And that's where my hole is. So literally when you drop a reference, we got some likes on Bravo, therefore that's a good thing. That's where my hole is on our pop culture trend is I know none of that. So,
and I just remembered too that the thing that sealed the deal when I wrote that reflective piece about calling in to watch What Happens Live on my birthday in 2013 and talking to Gina Keogh.
Yes. Well, now I'm mad. Now I watched the clip, and I'm actually a little mad at Andy Cohen because he got my name. Did not get your name wrong. I'm like, you son of a man. And the beautiful thing is, ever the gentleman that you are, you did not correct him. I probably would have, because I get this all the time. I'll answer the phone or I'm calling somebody. And 9 times out of 10, Mark, I'm like, no, Martin, how are you missing the thing? So I have to over pronunciate to make it a point, but people hear what they want to hear. And I was really, I was ready to, I was literally going to slap Andy Cohen across the screen.
Yeah, honestly, it's the fact that I got through on my birthday and Gina fucking Keogh.
But I love that. And I love Andy Cohen because I love watching, especially New Year's Eve. I love watching him and Anderson Cooper. Him getting Anderson, him and him getting Anderson drunk is always entertaining because Anderson is
Yes.
so straightforward and put up, and he's somebody I would trust with competence. So Anderson Cooper today, at least for me, is kind of like dinosaur reference, gang. Here we go.
Yeah.
Walter Cronkite back in the day when I was
Yes.
a kid, because there was the news person who, if they came on and they gave you something, and maybe Tom Brokaw, and there's a couple others. Barbara Walters, back when Barbara did news before Barbara did The View, though I love Barbara doing The View because I love The View. I was a View watcher. But Andy getting that wrong was like, well, the other thing, I love the fact that you knew the reference that one of the Real Housewives was in all those ZZ Top videos, which again, my high school is like, Sharp Dressed Man and all the stuff from Eliminator, all of that stuff was on our dance floor in high school dances all the time. It was like that was it. And the videos on MTV just constant. You would watch. Oh, at top of the hour, it's going to be a ZZ Top. Oh, hell yeah, I'm going to sit there and watch it. I don't care how many times I've watched this stupid thing.
Exactly.
I miss those days. I probably rotted way too many brain cells. Okay, and the other thing that just reminded me of sitting here rotting and thinking about MTV. See if you have this reference. You probably do. But of course, so this is when I would come home from college and I had nothing to do for 2 weeks. So and before I could go out, before it was evening, so it was during the day before I was going to go out to the bars. I would sit and, when I would get up and I would be watching MTV. And then, probably about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd flip over to USA Network and I was watching, what I'm going to say.
Dance Party
USA with Kelly Ripa.
I do remember that.
Oh God, and there was a girl on there named Prince who went by Princess, and she was totally into Prince, and she was always wearing the lace and everything else, and she just was totally into that stuff. Yeah, I watched Dance Party USA. Hormonal college student. What are you going to do? But okay, we share that reference. That's a scary thing. But yeah, Kelly Ripa got her start on there, which was really amazing.
Yeah, that was even before General Hospital.
Oh no, see, I didn't do General Hospital. See,
I didn't really do a lot of soaps either. It's
I
like,
did
honestly,
soaps.
I did not really get into soap operas until like 2014 when I just had discovered Knots Landing, because when I was a kid in the 90s and Young and the Restless came on, I'm like, oh, son of a bitch, this is going to be boring. But now I'm hooked.
Well, no, so where I got my soaps, because all my family, they were all into, my brother, my cousins, they were all into the ABC soap operas. My grandmother was a diehard NBC soap opera person. Where did I go? I went to the CBS soaps. Why? Summer, again, that summer between sophomore and junior year of high school, flipping channels, nothing to do, waiting for Gilligan's Island or whatever other stupid rerun was going to be coming on in the afternoon. Wait a minute, there are people in bathing suits. This is interesting to me. And it's like I started watching Guiding Light, and the next thing you know, I was hooked onto the CBS soaps because I'm like, oh, well, this one soap opera is interesting. What comes on before it? What comes on before it? And it's like, okay, let's just waste my summer in front of the TV, because that's what I did. Now, I will also admit, and you'll probably appreciate it, at that point, maybe a few years prior to that, I had a subscription to TV Guide.
Oh, of course.
I mean, I would buy, when I was maybe 10 or 11, I would, beg for the fall preview issue because that was worth, spending the money on, because you got to know everything. That was a good 50 cents to know everything that was coming up, full glossy pictures, full cast things, the whole 9 yards. Loved it, kept it to reference the entire year. But then at some point we did a magazine drive for school, and I went, I want a magazine. I would go to my grandmother, like, you buy a magazine? She's like, well, I get a bunch of magazines anyway. And she used to get all the film magazines and all that stuff back in the day. And I used to love flipping through all of those because there was always amazing pictures. And inevitably, when she was done with them, I'd ask her for them so that I could then take the pictures of celebrities that I wanted and put them up on my wall. So, I mean, I didn't have to buy the magazines, but I got the TV Guide.
And then it's like, I have a shameless plug from April. It's like tomorrow, August 21st, 1989. That is the day that TV Guide put Oprah's head on Anne Margaret's body. And of course, I wrote a piece about it.
Yes. back when you had to literally use Photoshop to be able to do that, and now you could
That was
do it
even
in.
pre-Photoshop.
I was going to say, yeah, now you can literally just do 3 clicks, and then there we go. Put so and so's head on so and so's body, and that's the end of that. And it's like, boom, there we
Yeah.
go. And it's seamless, and you won't see it. But yeah, so I was the nerdy kid who memorized TV Guide, and back in the day, it was easy because there was only 3 networks.
Yeah.
It was I now it would be suicide to try to attempt to memorize anything and everything that was on.
Oh, I know.
But back then, I could do that, and I would be going, I could figure out what do I want to watch, and you'd start playing negotiation games because this was pre dinosaur age again, gang. Pre VHS tapes. So literally, you had to go, what am I willing to watch first run? What am I willing to wait to catch on reruns when my show has got a rerun for 3 or 4 weeks? What am I willing to go catch? What am I willing to wait for the summer? Because literally most shows, typically you have got at least 2 pushes, maybe 3, depending upon how many episodes. They used to run like 22 episodes back in the day, back when programming was programming. And it's like, oh yeah, we got to make enough money. But yeah, so I would have to balance that. Or then I get my favorite thing, Battle of the Network Stars, because that was must see TV, because it was like, oh, I get to see all of these people. It was kind of like, it's kind of like a Marvel movie crossover now, or back in the day when I watched cartoons, it was like watching Yogi's Laugh Olympics, because you got all the cartoon characters from all the different things thrown all together in one thing, and that appealed. I was like, okay, I can get it all in one shot. I love it, and I would watch those things like crazy. Yeah, I'm a boring nerd. You're agreeing with me way too easily.
Yeah, it's like we're a fun breed.
Yeah, we can be. We could probably get on a lot of people's nerves.
Yeah, it's like the looks I've gotten on the playground. It's like back in elementary school. It's like when in show and tell, I would be talking about what was on hard copy the night before.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things I realized as I'm crossing off stuff and going, so I was lucky enough with Prince to see him 3 times in concert.
Amazing.
I saw him on the Purple Rain tour in Niagara Falls. Well, Niagara Falls. It was Buffalo, New York. It was the middle of December of 85. The only time I skipped class in college because I had to go wait in line at Ticketmaster to get tickets. And somebody on my floor was into Prince too. So she decided to come to the concert with me. So we literally drove an hour in the snow to go see the concert. Amazing concert. That was the first time live. The second time was the Love Sexy tour. It was in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I had to drive 2 hours for that one. That one was with somebody who I had met at a club probably a month or so prior. She was a huge Prince fan. Apparently, she would tell me, I never witnessed it, she would celebrate his birthday every year by
June 7th, 1958.
Yeah, she would celebrate his birthday by baking a cake for him in the nude.
Oh, wow.
I had to take that I had to believe her on that. Now, I saw the cake. I did not see her baking it in the nude. So she was a huge Prince fan. So we went to that concert together. The third time was the Jam of the Year tour. My wife was pregnant with my son, so it had to be 95. It had to be the summer of 95. It was during that whole bed rest period, third trimester. I'm having vomiting again because it wasn't bad enough on the first trimester.
Yeah.
And I had the tickets, and she's like, "You're really going to the concert?" And I'm like, well, it's Prince, and we've already paid for them, and I've already spent, I don't remember how much it was probably $60-$70. I'm like, I'm not throwing away $70. I will eat one ticket, but I'm going to the concert. So she was mad at me for a couple days. But that was the last time I saw him live, which that was the point where it was the emancipation. So he was back to using his name, and it was no longer the artist formerly known as Prince. And
I will never forget November 3rd, 1996, the day that it's like Oprah went to Paisley Park and then they taped the special.
Yeah, that was a good thing. I even had, so during the period when he was still going by the symbol, I remember going to like a, it was probably a Best Buy or it might have been a Comp USA,
Yeah.
and getting the interactive game, if you will, for your computer that you plopped in, and you had to basically walk through. It was a tour thing through Paisley Park, and you had to figure out all the puzzles, and you solved enough puzzles, and your reward was you got a music video from one of the songs that ended up, I think it was on songs that were on the Gold Experience. It's like Interactive and Endorphin Machine and probably something else. But yeah, game nerd there too. I'm pretty sure I've got that CD-ROM somewhere in the back. Can't use it anymore, but I still have it.
Obsolete as hell.
It's like obsolete as hell, but it's Prince, and I'm not getting rid of it because it's
exactly.
Prince, period, end of story.
Yeah.
I know. I just can't.
Yeah, it's Prince, so it stays.
I mean, I still can't believe it's been 10 years. And new album coming out, I guess, in the end of September, end of October. One of the two. Couple 10 more tracks from the vault. No rhyme or reason of why they're throwing them together.
Yeah, the fact that it's like at the time he died, it's like he has so much material. It would be like they could release new music for the next 45 years.
Well, the worst thing is when they do one like this, and they did it before too, where it's like, okay, there's no rhyme or reason, and you're not picking from specific. It's covering a range, and I guess I know why. It's like, well, you want to get a little of everything without having to exhaust certain periods, which they've been doing.
Exactly.
And the box sets and the deluxe box sets, which some of those albums I have now bought for like the 4th time because I had it on vinyl, I had it on CD. Now I'm buying it again because, God forbid, I can't live without a dozen unreleased tracks that I need to have a dozen unreleased tracks because my life will not be complete without them. I don't get the same. They don't have the same connection as much. I find that a lot with new music. I mean, I still do new albums.
Yeah.
I have to get songs I have to get a connection to. And if I've got a connection to it, then I'm more likely to be listening to the album more and listening to everything else. Because back in the day, you would get something and I'm going to listen to it 3 or 4 times the first week easily without a problem because it's now in rotation. I would take CDs to work when I was working at IBM and working on code, and I'd bring my little portable Walkman or portable CD player, plug it in. I'd bring a half a dozen CDs for the day, and those were the CDs I'm listening to for work. And certain albums, they're just
around that time, it's like it was Spice Girls, Janet Jackson, Paula Abdul, it's like Annie Lennox.
Oh yes, Paula Abdul's first album,
Grace Jones.
Oh yeah. Well, great. Yeah, some of the Grace stuff actually goes back to, I mean, I know especially some of her
1978.
Stuff well, yeah. I mean, and then you got oh gosh, I can't remember the song. It's popping in my head. I can hear it.
Slave to the Rhythm.
Slave to the Rhythm. There we go. And yeah, there's some other ones on that album too. It's just
when she did that French car commercial, and then it's like for the Citroen Nouvelle, and it's like they literally, it's like she drove into a garage that was shaped as her face.
Yeah. But she was iconic. That's the thing.
Yes.
I mean, just
Grace fucking Jones.
I know. I mean, you get some of those people that are just amazingly iconic.
And the same day that Mae West passed away, November 18th, 1980, is the day that she didn't. People say that she punched Russell Hardy, but it's like she didn't punch him, but it's like she playfully slapped him because he was disrespecting the hell out of her.
Well, and she wasn't going to take that shit.
Hell no.
No, there was absolutely no way she was taking that shit because she's not the type of person that was going to do that.
Yeah, so chat, anybody under 30 that's in here, it's like if you ever am confused about any of my analogies, go to YouTube and be like Grace Jones, 1980, Russell Hardy, Harty.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we're a wealth of completely weird and totally odd references. So I, and I learned now because I knew from reading your stuff, I knew there was, Chip is you call it joint custody, but I didn't realize where the joint custody was. I didn't realize it was with your mom.
Yeah, but it's like he is officially my mom's dog, but It's like he's basically mine.
Right. Well, and he was, because he's younger than I thought. Originally, I did not have an age and I did not think about it. I know he's 18
Yeah,
months.
he's
Technically,
going to be 5 on December
yeah, but
13th.
he's eternally 18 months. See,
Uh-huh.
yeah. See, originally I thought it was. I thought maybe the joint custody was with one of your exes. So I was like, going, oh,
Oh, no, my
no,
mom.
no.
No,
That's what I
it's like that,
realized.
and it's like that's why I'm dad and I'm brother.
Well, and that's fair.
And no, it is not anywhere near. It's like Papa John.
Yeah. So that was the thing that's different. So like I said, you're very open about your stuff. You're talking about stuff all over the place, and I do appreciate it. You talk
Everything.
about your flashback. Well, I mean, and so number of things I've learned from your posts. I mean, I did not realize that same post that you're talking about the concert with your mom. I had not realized that you had been married previously, and
Yep, I
I
was
did not.
married for 5 years.
Wow, and then I did not realize that you, in fact, did not come out until 2022. I
Yeah.
think you're right.
It was 2022 when I went full
Okay.
Meredith Baxter and
Okay.
departed the closet.
But my question, and I, feel free to smack me and tell me no. I don't, not going to talk about it. Did you have an idea when you were younger? I mean, I'm just trying to wrap my
honestly,
head. I
it's like
apologize.
what 7-year-old boy is thinking
Okay.
about kissing other boys, but
Okay,
it's like
so that's fair.
it's like I knew that it's like
Right.
and it's like when I say I was born this way, I am not
Right.
talking Lady
Lady
Gaga,
Gaga.
or it's like confetti or club
No.
anthems. I
No,
literally was.
but so clearly at some point, I mean, again, Martin's just, I'm going to play.
Yeah, and it's like
I'm going to
people
be
had been calling me a
right.
faggot for years and telling
Well,
me to kill myself and all
but at
that.
some point you definitely were. I mean, you at least were trying to, follow what convention, and I'm going to do that in major air quotes because it's not convention.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? You were trying to go, okay,
Trying to
maybe
be normal.
well, I don't want to say normal because that's not true. You're perfectly normal. I mean, the standard, what society's expectations.
Uh-huh.
Let's go with that. Society, because we're going to blame society.
Mhm.
Society's expectations. I mean, so you went to the point to where you got married and you were married for 5 years and you tried to make it work.
Yeah.
But then, realizing, you're not being who you're being, and you're not being you, and you're suppressing that, and that's horrible. I mean, you need to be able to express yourself and be who you're meant to be, and that's the more
but at the
important
same
thing.
time not wanting to be a stereotype, and it's like because I was like one of the first publicized, it's like diagnosed cases of autism in Pendleton, Oregon in the early 90s. It's like a
Oh,
lot.
and it was publicized. Well, I mean, oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's like it was around the time of the Rain Man era. And like
Oh, yeah.
93 was still in the Rain Man era. So of course people, it's like, knew who the hell I was.
Okay, that's okay. And it's again, it's not unusual. I mean, I found out a number of years. I was probably so my best friend in high school and I, who hang out, we do everything together. He was both majorly into computers. He had his Commodore 64 before I had my Commodore 64. His favorite thing was he would go buy software, and I'd come over and hang out on a Friday and Saturday night with him. I'd want to play video. I want to play the games. He wants to go break the copy protection. So he's spending all of his time poking through the code, trying to break the copy protection so that once he could figure out how to break the copy protection, he would make me a copy of the game and give me a copy of the game. Yes, we were felons. We'd also sit around and listen to music. So we were listening to, that college radio station. We're listening to things like Laurie Anderson. We're listening to things like, he was also in some, different types of metal stuff. So it was across the board. Drawing comic strips, because we used to draw comic strips in high school because we were bored. In our sociology and economics class, we're like, no, we're sitting in the back of the room. Teachers up in the front of the room complaining to the girls who weren't doing their work because that's what he wanted to do. He and I are in the back drawing comic strips and exchanging them, and slipping across the aisle and exchanging these comic strips because that's what we did. But he, I don't know, it's probably maybe about 10 years after we graduated, so probably in the early 90s. Is when he came out and just realized that that's who he was. So it's like I've always had people in my life. I've worked with people. I've worked with worked at IBM. Worked with some right out there lesbians. My wife has dragged me now three times I think, to Indigo Girls concerts because they're my wife's favorite band. So I have been this. The last time we went, which was a couple months back, there was actually more straight males there than I had been there previously. But it's usually me and my wife and a whole bunch of lesbians, which is great because I love the music. And
Yeah, so
Melissa,
basically you're an honorary lesbian, just
well,
like I
pretty
call
much.
my mom an honorary lesbian.
And Melissa Etheridge opened. So it's like, how can I not go to that? That is a damn slamming show. End of
Yes.
story between the two of them, between the two bands. It's like amazing stuff. So, I mean, and I'm glad that, I feel bad that it took that long for you to be able to actually get to that point, but I'm glad you did.
I know, and
Because
it's
you're
like a
comfortable
lot
with
of
yourself.
thinking back, and it's like there was so many goddamn missed signs. I could not even, because what, like 7-year-old boy wants to marry Sally Jesse Raphael?
She had good glasses. The woman had some style. I remember I would occasionally flip by. Again, it was the afternoon show, so you never know when you run into that. It was when she was on. It was back when probably around that same period when Ricky Lake had her talk show for a while, for a
Uh-huh.
minute. There was a couple years that she had that. So yeah, and I would always, that was the other thing. Daytime talk shows, I'm there. I mean, celebrity. It was all the
And then
celebrity stuff.
August 21st, 1989 was her final show in New Haven, Connecticut. And then when it's like the next week she had moved to, it's like Unitel in Manhattan.
Oh wow. See, you know all this stuff. You all know all this, literally, and it's literally just that in there.
It is.
Okay, so that's fair enough. Well, then that explains definitely why your writing tends to go towards this media memory type stuff you're talking about, because it's there. You can access it. I suspect some of these things just pop back into your head at the weirdest hours and don't shut up.
Oh, it
And
really does.
I mean, I have the same problem when I'm writing my fiction stuff. It's the same thing. All of a sudden something will come in there and it's like, what the hell? And it's like, it's begging to just come out. Yours is just a little bit different end of an angle, which is really interesting, which I really, again, that's kind of the reason why, I thought that you and I were going to connect. You and I were going to
Oh, absolutely.
have all this
And
stuff
it's
in
like this
common.
last month, it's like the
I know.
most irreverent, it's like pre-interview ever.
Well, in all fairness, once I get people who are interested, I now start keeping notes, because literally I'm like, okay, I got to have stuff to talk to them about,
Yes.
because inevitably, and I'm now noticing the time, which is good. So the first couple times I did this, you get to about the 20-minute mark and I'm going, there's a little hump in these types of things where
Yeah.
you hit the 20-minute mark and you're like, oh no, have we just exhausted this out in the stuff? And then it kind of disappears, which is good.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna have a multi-episode arc on your
Well,
show.
that's why. Oh well, everybody. And it's always happened with everybody. It's like everybody.
Yeah.
I want people. It's a matter of A, finding the schedule, but B, also I keep telling people, if something new comes up, especially I want to help people promote their stuff.
And that's the thing about me, that it scares the crap out of me, because I never want to be like performative or narcissistic, or
You're
I
not,
never want to be like, oh, tell me how good I am. Tell me I'm
no,
profound. Look at me. I'm like, if I
no,
ever become jaded like that, I swear to God
smack you.
that Talon Marlowe will cut my tongue out of my head and serve it to Chip in a fajita.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you'll ever get like that. You have a grounding, and I think it works out well, especially because you've got that distance, because you've got that other persona.
Yeah.
That other persona is that other voice in your head, and you're dealing with that. I mean, and we talked about this because in part you didn't make me. You challenged me to, because I don't write personal stuff.
Yeah,
And
Marty Party.
I will tell you why I don't write personal stuff. And it's a generational thing. Ask your mom, because
Yeah.
your mom and I
Oh, I know
probably,
all about
it
that.
calls
That's
in the
like
same
that's
thing.
the
We
era.
came from a generation where you don't talk about it, or if it's a problem, you just deal with it. I mean,
And that's
that's
why
very
I felt
much,
like I was ready to release my, it's like 1961 to 1995 fictional time travel. It's like with my grandparents, my mom, my aunt, and my uncle.
but that gives you an interesting perspective, because especially if you can look at that and you can appreciate the perspective of where, and I'm going to say characters, but they're not characters. I mean, technically, but the perspective of what was going on and what they were going through at those points, it does create an interesting it's like when I watch reality shows. It's like creates a very interesting sociological analysis where you're looking at, because things were different and the generations are different. And I see that, I see that sometimes at work with people that are in younger generation. Obviously, with my son who's 30, I mean, my son's more close to your generation. You can definitely see the differences, and how everything has gone, which I really find is totally interesting too. But yeah, Gen X, we just latchkey kids figured out how to deal with it.
Yeah, didn't
Don't talk about the problem. And you tell us something and we're like, yeah, whatever. Whatever doesn't mean no, we don't care. Whatever means we're not going to focus on it because we're either already going to solve the problem or we really don't need to discuss it with you because we're going to figure out the solution that we need to figure out anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do. And that's why I will do something. I posted a comment this morning. Somebody had said something to me about something related to work-related stuff for people. And I said, yeah, this is the type of individual who come up to me, call me and say, hey, what's the answer to this? Or can you come and do this? Things that they should know how to do. And rather than me spend 5 minutes and explain it to them, and then I've killed the time, I'm like, well, if I'm going to spend that 5 minutes explaining it, I might as well just go damn well and do it. And that's just kind of the way I'm wired, which is really weird. It's not a good thing. But anyway. Oddness. Hey, Matt, welcome. Yeah, so we've got a little conversation going on in the chat. Yeah, that's awesome, guys. If anybody well, by the way, chat, if you've got any questions for us, feel free to throw them out here.
Yes.
And same thing with you, Tavis. If there's anything, I mean, granted, am I an open book?
Yes.
Do I? As Steve, you kind of pointed out to me, it's like, oh, because he was talking to Wendy about this, and she was like nervous about coming on, and he's like, well, don't worry about it. Martin just does most of the talking anyway. I'm like, so if I am, hey, buddy, how are you? Oh, I hear that. He's talking to me. Oh, someone's a happy baby. Did Daddy wake you up? Did he wake you up?
He needed to make at least a little bit of an executive producer cameo.
So what's his opinion?
He just digs it.
Okay, so he
keeps me in check.
So nothing that needs correction, Chip. Nothing that requires editorial control.
Yeah, he'll read me the riot act later, and
that's fair.
It's like even late last year. It's like when I was just writing everything. It's like when I added Chip into the Substack, it started like writing as him in a simple POV, and then it's like months later he got upgraded to executive producer.
Well, but he also has his own account, so technically,
yes, he does.
At some point, I have an expectation that he is going to have a conversation with his assistant, because I know he has one. I suspect he has a whole staff of them. And they are going to basically transcribe whatever he wants to end up communicating. So I have an expectation from him at some point to start his own running commentary about some things. So that is always welcomed.
And Chip hasn't posted on his own stack in a while, but there are a few pieces he's done.
Okay, so I haven't looked because I know. I know
it's like his debut piece from March 31, 1994. It's like the
94.
Okay, yeah, it's like the infamous Madonna going on David Letterman when she was high as a kite and said fuck 17 times.
There you go. And Dave appreciated it. I remember that. And yeah, she just was. I feel bad about Madonna though now. I mean, every now and then I'll see pictures and I'm just like, oh, why you're going too far with some of the cosmetic stuff, Madonna. You need to stop, dear.
I know, but the fact that she's 68 years old.
I know like, it's good, and I know, and I appreciate it. I appreciate when I hear, her track with Sabrina Carpenter. I mean, I'm like, I appreciate her drive. I appreciate her. I'm going to be relevant for another generation. Damn it. I mean, she always. Even when she burst on the scene in 83.
January of 1984. It's like when she went on Bandstand and then told Dick Clark that she was going to rule the world.
Oh, yeah.
And by God, she has.
Well, and by that point, because her album, I remember the album came out in late of 83. but it only had like some smaller traction, and it wasn't until she, like you said, she was on 84. But the only
Yeah, and it
reason I
was
remember,
82 when she released, it's like the early stuff. It's like Everybody, and then it's like
yeah, and then
when
the
she was still
album,
at Danceteria.
and the album ended up coming out late in 83. Only reason I remember it is because it was the summer of 84. I was working, so I was the end of my freshman year of college. I was on our student orientation service. Um, I remember we were out in the parking lot because one of the things we would do is during the September, it had to be September. One of the things we would do is when the new students were coming on campus, the day they were coming on the campus, first of all, we'd sent them all, luggage tags color coded to their buildings, the whole 9 yards, so that they would pull into the parking lot in an organized manner. We would help them unpack their vehicles, make sure their stuff was tagged, get it on a truck that would then drive it up to the buildings from the parking lots, leave it out there in the front, so then they would walk up to the buildings, pick up their stuff, and they would be able to transfer it up to the rooms. But the reason where Madonna comes in, because Martin has a tangent, you got dates, I've got stupid stories. One of the girls who was on orientation with me, I remember she had a small cassette player or a boombox, might have been a boombox, and she had Madonna's first album. And I remember us out in the parking lot, her jamming that album over and over again. We're out just, in between cars, we're out there dancing in the parking lot because that's what we did, because we were volunteer college students that were only paid with, a couple late night, beer parties. That's how we were paid. And we did this because we loved it. And I remember was probably the very first place that I really got exposed to a lot of that album and a lot of Madonna. And I mark it up to Joanne, and I can't remember Joanne's last name. Corrado? Maybe Joanne Corrado? Oh, Martin dug into the vault for a name that's rare, because normally I can't pull these things. Usually the senior moment is somebody else where I'm going, who's the actor? And it was something. And eventually my wife will guess, and I'm like, thank you, because my brain. But yeah, my synapse worked this time. Weird. Okay. Let's see what you got to look forward to. Hopefully you never have to look forward to that.
I'm excited. And it's like, if I live to see 50, I'll be delighted.
Dude, you will. Just, you've got a healthy lifestyle. So, you stay out of trouble. That's a good
And
thing.
most days I feel like I'm 200.
Now, whether or not what it'll look like in another 20 years is another matter entirely. I worry about that. My goal is I'm going to see if I can try to pull as close to my grandfather on my father's side did. He lived to about 6 months shy of 100. So longevity does work. Whether or not it works with me, we will see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, and the fact that my grandparents are 83 and 84, and it's like
Bless them.
it's like still
That's-
still
that's
active. It's
amazing.
like they've never been the stereotypical grandparents.
That's good. You need to, and here I go. The fatherly advice gets thrown in. You make the most to make the time to
Yes.
spend with them, to understand the wonderful stories.
And even though it's like I understand them, it's like they're not evil. It's like they're not perfect. They're just
No, they're human.
people.
They're people. I mean, but that's the thing. That would be my advice to you, is make the most of that stuff. There's
Yeah, and
probably
it's like
some
they had
stuff.
whole lives before having kids. I'm sure back in 1961 when they were engaged, they probably would have never
Oh yeah.
imagined it's like having a grandson like me.
The world was definitely a different place, but you're right. If you think about it, I mean, the good news, and I'm glad of this in my generation, is like we didn't have any way it was documented. So the only way you can tell is bad Polaroid pictures, or whatever Kodak camera that you had at the time, because that 95% of the time it was probably Kodak. So it was those pictures. That was probably about it, and the stories. Thank God we did not have social media. We did not have smartphones. As much as some of it I would love to have documented, there's a whole hell of a lot that I am glad personally that is not documented.
Oh, I know.
There are some overly embarrassing stuff, and I'm like, nope. And unlike you, again, gets back to the whole generation who keeps this stuff. I don't go into it, but you did convince me. And I did tell those two interesting stories about my weird personas. So occasionally I will bite into those things. It probably won't be that often, so do not take offense if I don't.
Oh,
But
you're good.
I know. It just that's weird. But I'm also at an age at this point too where I don't give a F, and it's like I'm comfortable enough in my life to now realize I don't need to worry about it. It probably took me till after I was 50 to get to that point, which is sad.
Yeah.
Too much of a got to worry about this, got to worry about that. My writing group, they're so funny when they found out. So a couple of them are on Substack, and we were going, it was probably about a month or so when we went out and we went out to Culver's for our hangout on our off writing night, and they're like, "Oh yeah, did you hear Martin sang on the internet?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did." No, oh, by the way, I have an internet. Apparently, I'm now an internet talk show host, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and I've got like 200 at that time. It was like 225 followers, and they're like, "That is so amazing." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just being me, and I'm just being social. It's what I do."
Yeah, you're like the Mike Douglas show of 2026.
I will appreciate that reference because I would watch Mike and Dinah. So Mike Douglas was those things. I mean, I love watching the old clips, especially the ones where he would have because he would always have a guest host to come in for a week. And I remember I remember watching the week that John Lennon and Yoko Ono were on. And
I remember that.
If you watch the clips on YouTube, there is some wild shit because not only were they, they were very good with the regular guests, but they were also bringing in some interesting guests. And you could tell that, Mike Douglas is getting exposed to a lot of things. That's what I loved about back then. Mike Douglas was getting exposed to, different people through that. Dinah tended to stay more really Hollywood stuff, but hers was.
Yeah, it's like I love that Dinah Shore always, even when she was speaking, she always sounded so sing-song.
She did, but her set was very much set up like her house, so it looked like it was definitely more of a welcoming thing. But you had Mike Douglas, who was kind of getting more exposed stuff, and then you had Phil Donahue, which I appreciated.
Yes.
Phil Donahue, and I loved watching him because you never know what you would get, and he would bring in the things, and there was an episode where he had brought in skinheads and I want to say Jewish people, maybe not.
I'm thinking that might have been the same week in 1988 that Oprah and Geraldo had the skinheads on.
It's possible, and I do remember the episode where I remember seeing that one live where Phil Donahue had male cross-dressers on, and Phil,
the Marilyn Monroe impersonator.
Yeah, and then Phil, in honor of that and to support, he wore a skirt. I mean, a skirt to go with his suit. But he did for that. In that case, it was very much like a kilt.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the specific episode, but I do remember it's like Jimmy James, the Marilyn Monroe impersonator, and it was from May of '87.
Yeah, this one was actually before, so I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be too surprised if you've done this. I want to say it was either late '70s or early '80s is the one I'm thinking of. But I don't know. But that's what I liked about that, because that was a lot of, yes, they were controversial. Yes, they were challenging. Yes, they were. I don't know if they were completely for ratings grabs. I mean, not as much as some of the shows today might be. Very much, we're going to be out there because we're going to try to get eyeballs. But I appreciated because it was about kind of like what I'm doing, where it was about conversation. It was about, let's not just not talk about stuff. Let's get it out there. Let's have conversations. Let's let both sides present stuff so that you as an individual can observe it and make your own educated and meaningful decision, rather than just blindly following somebody else because somebody else has said that. And I mean, I guess that kind of ties into what I do with the library. It's the same thing. It's like, I want to be able to do that type of stuff, and we want to be able to let people make their own decisions about stuff. Wow, weird. Okay, Martin went down a weird rabbit hole. Apologies.
Oh, you're good. I'm just happy to be here.
What else you want to? Are there any other pieces in particular you want to plug? You want to talk about? Because we got about 15 minutes before I have to go take the dogs to the groomers. They have to get pretty.
I'm actually trying to think. It's
Okay.
Yeah, it's like as of this morning, it's like I saw that I had like 554 pieces, and I'm like, there's no way in hell that I could plug all 554 of them.
Well, now that's the thing. How long have you, because you've been on here for a year?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
November 16th is going to mark 1 year.
Okay. So I started last August. So I'm probably, actually, I think it was late July. So I'm already past my 1 year mark. But I really didn't get into a lot of stuff. And like I said, you've got that creativity to spare,
Yeah,
and
and
you're
honestly,
also
I would never compare myself to Prince, but it's like it's really funny too. It's like in my unpublished archives, I
that's scary.
have currently 600 pieces that it's like
Dude,
are unpublished. So I could literally probably be like Prince, and I could not write a new thing for like a year and still put out
but
new
but
content.
you can't, and that's the thing. I mean, I
I know.
think now, in all fairness, I mean, I'm a planner. I mean, clearly, obviously, you are at least
Yeah,
to some respect, but you also, I suspect that there's probably a little bit of a plotter into there somewhere, because you
there
may not
is.
necessarily know where it's all going, but once you got an idea,
Yeah, I
and
just
then
spew it out. And it's like I
and then
have a
you
never
spew
to
it.
see the light of day file. I have an unpublished file. I have a no way in hell burn this upon reading file.
Now, see, I am very much a planner. So, I mean, literally, I could. So, literally, I just dropped the last two of my novella today for my second novella. The third one's in the can. The short story that goes and that finishes out that volume is in the can. Theoretically, I could post daily. I don't, because I like to have a fallback, because I know I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to have a dry spot. I'm like, I'd rather I'd rather trickle it, and it may mean that some of this is not going to see the light of day for a couple of
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
I'm
it's like the
okay with.
series I just plugged yesterday. It's like I wrote that a year ago, and it's like I have it was set to where part one, 1995, is going to be dropping on tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, and then part two, 1985, is going to be August 28th, and then
Yeah,
part three, the finale, is going to be 1961.
right. But you're planning it out. See, and then so I want to do that, and that's what you want to do. And then I read your post when you talked about when you talked about the passing of Hayden, and I was like, and then the flip side to me went going, because you said, and you very much said, and made a mental note about this, was, we talked to the fact that um, nobody's promised tomorrow, nobody's promised
Exactly.
the next week. It takes nothing for you to you talk to Stefan and say, yeah, I'll do your show next on Monday, not next Monday but the Monday after.
31st.
I'm booking guests at this point. I pretty much, except for two that I'm penciling in for October, I pretty much got my guests booked all the way through Halloween, which is very
Yeah.
bold of me, because I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. I don't know. My stupid, ticker that I've, had heart surgery on when I was 40 might decide, oh, no, I'm going to cause you a problem. So there's that weird balance of like, do I want to do I want to plan versus do I want to live for the moment? If I got it, put it out, because there may not be a moment. So
Yeah, it's like I'm a
it's
little a
it's
column A, little a column B.
it's a weird thing. I like, and the pessimist in me would say, no, go ahead and put it out because you're not promised. But the optimist, which I need more optimists in my life, and I guess maybe that's why I do this. The optimist in me says, I'm going to plan for it, because now I've got something to look forward to. I've got something to look forward to, that my next novella is going to start dropping in September, and I'm timing it. I'm timing it on the Thursday before the weekend where I'm going to go run the gauntlet of David Tannenbaum's Right Club, because he's been begging me to. I tried to get on there the first month, and then schedules didn't do. So now I'm getting back in there, and I'm like, well, fair enough. I will do that because you're coming to talk to me the following week. Therefore, we're going to put some synergy into this. And I'm going to, like, first new chapter, we'll talk about it in Right Club. You come back and we'll talk about the experience, and we'll talk about how you bring all this stuff together. And it's like, so I'm planning again,
Yes.
but it gives me a goal. It gives me something to look forward to. And I guess that's what I kind of like. It's like, I'm looking forward to the future. So it's not so bad. I mean, It's
It's like,
bright. Gotta
honestly,
wear shades.
I'm even envisioning a year from now. It's like how I'll probably look back at posts from the last couple of months here, and then looking back, I'm like, holy crap, what was I thinking?
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, you always have the option. You always have the option of either A, which some people do. I mean, I know you and neither one of us have a paywall behind anything, but I know some people do, and that's great. And
Yeah, the only reason I have it, and it's like the heart of my stuff is always free, but it's like, of course, I put it there because it would honestly, the first time it's like I got a pledge that paid out, I'm like, I would I would never. And it's like even my mother wanted to pay subscribe to me, so I permanently comped her. I'm like, no, mom, I'm not taking your money.
well, that's I mean, that's the thing. And part of mine is that, and part of it is I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing the, to
I'm doing it
me.
because I have something to say.
I'm doing it because I got to get the damn voices out of my head. Because
Yeah.
if I don't do this, they're just going to sit there and bother me until I do. Therefore, I do it. And in your case, you've got these stories, you've got these things you want to put them out there in help, in part because it's helpful for you,
And
because
honestly,
it's
it's like
helping you to understand the world.
yeah, the philosophy of my work, it's like if a peace of mind finds somebody in a moment and when they need it, and if my words help them feel seen, then that makes this all worth it in the end.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing I think. And again, circling back to how we connected, because literally it was something that you wrote that literally touched a connection to me. And that's one of the things I'm, especially over the last couple months of Substack, is what I'm
Yeah.
finding is not everything is for everybody, but sometimes something is going to, and who
And
knows,
honestly,
that
the
could
fact
open
that the
another
old
door.
yeah, it's like in that piece, it's like the old woman who was dancing in the aisle. It's like that. I have a lot of history with that woman. She
Yeah.
was the special ed teacher who oversaw my IEP, and
Yeah.
it was not a fun experience in school. And it's like, as much as I'd want to say, it's like, I hate you, you ruined my life. I'm like I finally got the closure with Karen, and like, and yes, that's
Yeah.
her real name.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and you've got the years behind you now to have the wisdom and insight and realize that there was the emotion then, and now you can look at it from a different perspective and put it into perspective and be able to go, okay, I get it. And yeah, yeah, which, that's a great gift. That is a great gift. We don't get that often in life, so we should always appreciate it when we get it. Wow, we got philosophical and heavy. um so
Yeah,
pretty
my
good, buddy.
next appearance will be a lot more fun. It'll be a lot more. It's like uplifting and fun, and not so. It's like Barbara
Yeah,
Walters.
I will tell you, it takes a little bit of getting used to. I think to me, so my first live was when Wendy read my stuff, and in all
Yeah.
fairness, that was like, okay, a wound, because okay, she's reading something of mine, but something I've been living with long enough, and enough people had shared it, so it was like a big deal, and I didn't have to do much.
And honestly, it's like my first experience with Stefan Pasek. It's like when
Yeah,
I submitted the poem I wrote on International Women's Day, and it's like Bradley Ramsey and
yeah,
Stefan
read
read
your
it,
poem.
and then it's like when it wouldn't when they and then it's like Stefan called it like weird and but not in a bad way, and then jarring. I'm like, oh my god, they fucking hate me.
No, they didn't.
Uh,
And then literally, like I said, my second time was going on with Stefan, and what did I do? I'm going to go ahead and sing Prince a cappella.
I
Um,
know. And then April 21st, on the 10th anniversary of Prince, it's like when at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's like
mhm,
I wrote the reflective piece. And then by that night, when I got off work, it's like I crashed the Mac Devlin and Stefan's karaoke show that was live already in progress. And then out of nowhere, I did 1999 in Raspberry Beret.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so I think you'll do fine in Stefan. I'm going to talk to him next Monday, so I will get him. Not that he needs Prime, because he talks to people every night.
Yeah, and
Um,
honestly, it's like and I'm sure it's like Stefan is well versed in my stuff by now.
it's very chill. Very chill. He's very laid back. But that's kind of, like I said, that's kind of where my bug came from, and the evolution between those two lives probably caused this nightmare that I'm living. It's not a nightmare.
Yeah, and then honestly, July 13th, that's like the first ever show I did. It's like with Maddox Clausinger and
Hmm.
Sappy Sorcerer. I'm like, that was
Hmm.
like completely, and it's like Tal and Marla's talk show debut.
There you go. Well, so technically, then this is kind of almost, yeah, this is one more of a Travis. So you weren't in talent mode, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's like this is my third show because it's like July 13th I did Maddox and Sappy Sorcerer.
Yeah.
August 10th I did
Did Sappy
Sappy
Sorcerer do it
Sorcerer,
by
and
yourself?
then
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you are my
I
third
was
talk
third.
show
I
appearance.
will take that. That's fair. That's fair, buddy.
And then Stefan will be number 4, and then
4.
Marlena, Out of My Damn Mind, will be number 5 on September 8th, 40th
See,
anniversary of when Oprah went national.
you're branching out and you're getting comfortable with this stuff, and that's good. Plus, you're doing your occasionally you do your little nightly thoughts or whatever as audio recordings, which is really cool.
Yeah, and it's desensitizing me. And it's like it still makes me want to cringe, and I'm like, ew, God, why do I film like that?
No, because that's the way you never hear your own voice the way you hear your own voice. So it's like, it's fine. Just ignore it. Again, life too short.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, almost 90 minutes.
Almost time for you to go pick up the dogs from the salon.
I have to go take them. So literally it is climb in the Jeep, put Stormy on the passenger side, and he will sit at the passenger side and cry because I'm not holding him. Badger, my oldest, has to sit on my lap the entire ride over. Luckily, it's not that far, but it's enough where I'll turn the radio on. Hopefully, a decent song will be on. I'll sing to the dogs, and hopefully they'll chill out. They don't like it when they go, but then they're happy when they come home and they actually look really good for 10 weeks. Usually about 10 weeks in between their grooming. So right now they're a mess.
Yeah, and then it's like I take him out there, he's sleepy, and then it's like by the time he gets done, it's like there's enough fur to weave a Persian throw rug, and I get him a scrambled egg and a pup cup and an Evian water because it's like the executive producer deserves it.
You're way better than I do. I'm literally like, no, they're just happy to get back in the car with me, and it's like, okay, the good news is we will get home and it'll be dinner time, so then I can bribe them with reward with food, and then they're perfectly fine. It's been a pleasure, my friend. I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with me.
I know it was so much fun. I can't wait until we do it again.
We will. Feel free to nag me, and I'm going to be following your stuff. I always do.
Ditto.
It takes a little bit for the video stuff to process. On average, I've noticed that depending upon the length, probably about 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, but then you'll end up having something in your thing. You either have the option to, I automatically, as soon as we hit the end and it pops up the thing and says, oh, I am processing the video. Do you want to post this when you're immediately done? 9 times out of 10, I just hit that. So
I did it like that too. And then it's like when I put mine up, it's like, of course I'm going to tag
then you restack it. Then you got to restack it. Now I expect that after it gets restacked, at some point, I know Chip's going to have a comment. So I expect to see comments from somewhere from our executive producer, because he's going to have thoughts. He's going to have lots of thoughts. He's going to be like, well, I don't even know. I'm not even going to put words in his mouth at all. But I'm glad to meet him. I'm glad we were able to talk. I will see you all over the place because I follow your stuff. Get enough sleep. I'm telling my West Coast friends, you need sleep. You got up late early this morning. You need to make sure you get enough sleep tonight.
Yeah. Okay? And it's like that was to become camera ready. But it's on that note, it's like the fact I have to get ready for work. Ugh.
Yeah. I'm going to let you do that. You enjoy the rest of your day. I've got some work stuff to do myself, but take care. I appreciate you coming on, Tavis.
Oh, thank you for having me. And thank you, chat.
Chat, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. We do appreciate it. And we will see you guys real soon. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.